welcome to another Fun Fold Friday. Today I have a Gatefold card. It's a little bit different than normal Gatefold cards in that the whole card is made from designer series paper. Today I am using the Pansy Patch suite of products. We've got this beautiful stamp set where you can stamp lots of different pansies using the different little faces, and you've got some leaves that you can stamp out and lots of greetings. It comes with a coordinating die set, and I want to point out that this large die here and this die will cut out the large and the small pansies on one of the sheets of the designer series paper, and then this die and this die cut out some of the leaves on the designer series paper, such as I have done here. So you've got 3 colors of the leaves on one sheet of pattern paper. It's actually this pattern here. So you can actually cut these leaves out. And so this is the paper here. You've got 4 sheets actually filled with pansy designs on it. And then you've got some really, really small little flowers here, which are very, very pretty. And that's actually the paper I'm using for today's project. Then you've got some ginghams and some stripes and some other patterns. These are the 5 new in colors. So we've got our Evening Evergreen, our Fresh Freesia, Pale Papaya, Polished Pink, and Soft Succulent. So 2 of the leaf colors are the darker and the lighter greens. And then they've also brought in a 3rd green, and that is this is the ink pad that goes with it, the Soft Sea Foam. That's the other green that's in there. Very, very beautiful papers. Lots you can do with those. So on some of the patterns, you can actually cut out, I'll just show you some of the die cuts that I've done. So this is an example of one of the larger pansies that you can cut out. Here's a smaller pansy that you can cut out. And then these are the leaves in the 3 different colors. Okay, so there's 2 dies for the pansies and there's 2 dies for the leaves. So for the very first project that you ever create, I would highly suggest that you spend some time and you cut out some of these die cuts so that you have them ready for a next project. And I like to keep them in these little cellophane bags that you can purchase. So lots of fun. I love having things sort of pre-cut and ready so that I can start designing and deciding what I want to do. So all you need for this project really is a piece of designer series paper. So for this one, I'm going to use this sheet here. So I've got these cute little flowers on one side, and then I've got a gingham on the inside. Now, because this paper doesn't have a direction to it, it's very, very easy to use for this particular type of a card. So let's just open this up. So I've created this cute little belly band out of our new in color ribbons. And then it opens up like this. So on the inside, you need a piece of basic white that measures 3.5 by 5. And then if you want, you can add some DSP to the top and to the bottom just to let it stand out a little bit more. Okay. Now, as you can see from this paper, you are going to create 4 different score lines, and then you're going to fold it like this to create the gatefold. And then I'm going to show you, you have to make a measurement here and here on each side so that you can cut from the score mark here down to that tick mark and the other side as well. So let's get started and start putting this card together. It's really, really quite easy. All right, so this paper measures 5.5 by 12. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. And I'm going to do 4 score marks. So I'm just going to clear some space so that I can open up this arm. Now, it doesn't really matter which side you score on because you're going to have score lines that are going to bend on in both directions. So it doesn't really matter what side of the paper that you work on. So you're going to start by scoring at 2 inches. So let's move over here to 2 inches. And remember to use your score blade and not your cutting blade. So 2 inches, then you're going to move it over to 4, And make sure that your paper is nicely butted up against the top here. Go to 4 and then do another score line. Then you're going to move it over to 8. That's why you need to open up this arm and do a score. And then you have one more at 10 inches. Okay, and that's all the scoring that you need to do. Okay, so at this point you want to decide, do I want this to be inside or on the outside? Gingham on the inside or on the outside? So I'm going to do my gingham on the inside of this card. So you've got your 4 score lines. So this is one and this is the second one. So on the second one, you're going to fold this as if you're folding a card base. Okay, and bring out your bone folder because you want to just burnish the score line. Open it up again and then go over to the second score line from the right side and fold that over and burnish. And make sure your edges meet nicely. They should if you've cut it straight. Okay, then what you want to do is this score line here, you're going to just push that back. That creates your gatefold. Okay, and then you're going to close this up again and then go back on this score line and close it up. Okay. I just have to manipulate my paper here just to get it right to the edge here. Okay, and then give it a good burnish. Okay, so that is the base of your card here. All right, the next step is, I'm using my grid sheet here, but if you want to take out a ruler, you want to make a tick mark. So I'm just putting my paper right in that bottom corner, and I'm going to grab a pencil, and you want to make a tick mark at 2 3/4. 2 3/4 is half of 5 1/2. You see this paper is 5 1/2 inches high, which is the normal size for an A2 size card. So we're going to go to 2 3/4 and just make a little tick mark there. Okay, and then if you just follow this line all the way to the other end, you want to go to 2 3/4 on this side. So now what you want to do is bring back your trimmer. And so you see you have a score line here. So you are going to line up this tick mark and the score line on your trimmer. And you're going to cut this off at a diagonal. So I'm making sure that the tick mark is right in the middle of the track. And I'm going to slide it so that the score mark is in the track. Okay. And then I'm going to cut. Okay. And you're going to keep this triangle because we're going to use this on the front of the card. And you're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. Now make sure you're cutting the same at the same end of the paper. Okay. You're not doing one here and opposite. You're doing on the same side here. So again, line up the tick mark and then line up the score mark. Sometimes you have to kind of go back and forth just to make sure that they line up really well. Tick mark, score mark. Okay, and then cut. Okay, so now we can get rid of this. And if you want, you can just erase your little tick marks if they're in the way, or if you can see them. Well, hopefully you saw them because you need to use them as a cutting guide. Okay, so here is our card. So now when you've cut the diagonals off, you can see this pretty pink, flowers. So now what you do is you take these two pieces and you are going to glue these to the bottom of the card here. You're going to line that up and glue that on like that and like this. So now in the middle, you end up with this beautiful diamond shape, which is where your greeting is going to go. Okay? So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to pull in my silicone mat and I'm going to pull in my Tombow glue. I'm trying not to put a lot of glue because I want to get as close to the edge as I can, especially in the corner there. Okay, and I'm just going to grab my tweezers. I'm going to lift that up. Okay, and I'm going to open this up and I'm going to place this. I'm going to make sure that's completely covering that corner. There we go. Okay, and then let's do this one. You just need a tiny bit of glue. So we'll move over to this side now, and we'll glue this one in. Okay, so there's your triangle in the middle. Pretty simple. Okay, now I picked out the same greeting. I love this greeting. It says, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. What a great card to send in the mail, just for any reason whatsoever. Okay, now I am going to die cut this same die cut using the Hippo and Friends. I think that's the name of the stamp set. And of course our dies are always given a separate name. So let me go and do that and I'll be right back. So this is the die from that set of dies, and as always, there is a blog post associated with this video. You can see it below in the description of the video, and I will list all of the supplies that I used to create this card, because at the moment I just can't remember the name of these dies. But it's the set with the little hippo, and the thing about that set is I wasn't that attracted to the actual hippo part, but the dies are just to die for. I should have just really bought the dies, but I did buy the stamp set just in case I wanted to make a card with cute little hippos on it. All right, so now we can do this. Now when you cut any dies that have stitching around them, make sure that you know which is the front and which is the back. It's pretty obvious. You can see the stitching really well. And I am going to, as I did in this card, I used the dark green to stamp the greeting. So on this card, I might choose to stamp the greeting in the polished pink, so it really stands out. Because I might use the polished pink ribbon to close this. I haven't used this ink pad very much. It's a little bit difficult to get that open. Okay, so let's give this a stamp. Now remember, when using these clear stamps, that you want to make sure you've got your cardstock on either your silicone mat or on your Stampin' Pierce mat to give it some cushion. And I'm just going to center this down in the, center it, I meant to say. Center it on the center of the die cut. There we go. That's very, very pretty. Okay, we're going to decorate it with one of the pansies. So let's see which pansy. I might want to just use a small little pink pansy here. Okay. And maybe we could actually put some leaves on this one this time. Maybe I'll build it up with some leaves here. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue here. And I'm going to put this one leaf like that. And I think I'll take a different color leaf. Actually, I didn't put the glue on the right spot there. Let me grab another one. I made a mistake there. Okay, I seem to be pulling out. Let's just pull them out. I need a dark leaf, and all the light green leaves are coming out. Oh, here we go. Here's a dark one. Perfect. Let's just put a little bit of glue right here. And then I'm going to just glue the bottom half of my pansy here. And put this right in the center. Like so. Isn't that a cute topper for a label? I love that. That would look great on a gift box or a gift bag. Okay, now we've got these fantastic in colors. Seeing as we're using all the in colors in this suite, we have these beautiful gemstones, or rhinestones I should say. These are the 2021 to 2023 in color jewels. So they're like our regular clear rhinestones, but they're colored with the in colors. So let me just get these out. Now, on this one I chose to use the green ones. Hoping you can, they catch the light. So on this one I think I will use the pink ones maybe. No, I don't want to use the pink ones. Let's maybe do these yellow ones. There's lots of yellow in the, so I'm going to put one in the middle of the pansy, the larger one, and then I'm going to put two small ones somewhere else, like that. I'm loving my Take Your Pick tool, this putty end for picking up the rhinestones. You basically push the rhinestones to pick them up, not try and pick them up directly. Okay, now I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, and you only want to put the dimensionals on one side. You want to make sure you don't glue this down to the other side, otherwise you won't be able to open up your card. Okay, you want this side to be free. So I'm just going to put two dimensionals right here. And I'm actually using up my scraps, so I might as well just take these three right here and put them here, like so. Okay, so now I can close the card, and I'm going to center it. And I'm centering that little dent in the top of the pansy with the opening. That's perfect centering, right like that. Okay, and there's your greeting. So the next thing we need to do is to grab our piece of basic white. I think I told you this measurement. This is 3.5 by 5. And you could, you know, stamp something on here. Maybe I'll stamp a little pansy on here, do something. Here I put DSP on here, but I think for this one I'll actually stamp a couple of little not daisies, pansies. Now this is, the pansies are kind of like a two-step stamping. So I've got kind of a solid image here, and I've got a patterned image here. So let me just grab 2 blocks. Like so, okay? So you can see on here the larger part of the image is in a pink, and then the detail on the inside is a different pink. So what I will do is I will do the polished pink. Now if you don't have 2 or 3 different shades of one color, I'm going to show you how you can do this stamp off technique so that you can create different shades. Okay, So this pattern piece I want to be darker. So what I'm going to do is, let me get a scrap piece of paper here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the polished pink, which is quite dark, and then I'm going to stamp it off on my scrap, and I'm going to stamp it on my card. And I'm holding it down so that that ink gets absorbed into the paper to get a better image, okay? Then I'm going to grab this darker, or the outline of this image, and I'm going to again do it in the polished pink, but I'm not going to stamp this off this time. Okay, and I'm going to stamp it right over that image. Okay, there you go. There's your pansy. Isn't that sweet? Now, if you wanted to create a bit of a beard in there, I think there's this other stamp that you could put on in the middle. I haven't played around too much with this, but I could try it. So let me grab a very tiny block, our smallest block. I'm going to grab that. And again, I'm just going to make this dark pink. Okay, now there's a hole here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a hole in there. So you want to get that hole over the other hole. There we go. Isn't that sweet? So there's your little pansy on the inside of your card. And you could do the same for the envelope. All right, so let's glue this to the inside of our card. So watch for those two score lines to get it centered in between. And because of the gingham paper, it makes it really easy to line this up. There we go. So there you have your card. So now I want to, the finishing touch is of course the ribbon. So I think I'm going to use this polished pink ribbon. Let's move my stamps out of the way. And let's pull out okay. So we're just going to tie it right in the center, but you can always slide it in a different direction on the card when it's finished. If you want it over to the right or to the left, you could do that. Okay, and I'm going to come over the top and I'm going to tuck it under and grab it. Nope, I haven't grabbed the right piece, so I have to do that again. So now make sure your ribbon is not twisted, so just manipulate the ribbon. You see, I don't want that twist there, so it's still twisting. So I'm just going to twist this. There we go, that's better. Sometimes I can tie a ribbon the first time around, and other times not so much. Okay, there it is. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put my finger on the knot and then pull. And then tighten it. There we go. Sometimes it takes a little maneuvering. There's really no need to untie the ribbon, because you can just slide it on and off of the card. Okay, so there is the one we just made. Very, very sweet card. Okay, and then here is the original card that I made just to test out my design. And let's just put, so you see if I'm just bending it, I'm putting my thumb in the middle, and I should be able to just stick that ribbon right back on. There we go. There you go. There's your DSP Gatefold card. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you will endeavor to make one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.